form. Point slope form. Alright, point slope form. Very, very simple. I'll show you where it comes from. What's the slope formula? Everybody in here should know the slope formula. If you don't, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Y
X plus B. And slope intercept form.
Y minus Y, X minus X.
Okay.
Is that two?
Yeah.
Those X's on the bottom?
Yes. Yes.
No,
There's chairs up here. You can come sit so you can see. No. All right. Now let's say I want to get the y's by themselves. How would I remove that denominator? How do I get rid of it? How's it attached? Yeah. We're going to multiply both sides by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? And what we get, I'm going to write the y's first. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 equals m times x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? Does everybody know what I did? Move up. Up and over. Yeah. Okay, what are you using now? Okay, what have you been using? Okay, you had it a minute ago and now you don't.
No, it was in my pouch, but I think it was open when I was walking back home.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so this is the slope formula. All I did was to remove the denominator is multiplied by it because it's attached to the top part by division. So we do the opposite. We multiplied by whatever the bottom was. So I multiplied by that. Both sides. I have to multiply both sides. So these are now gone, leaving just y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all by itself on one side of the equal sign. On the left side, we have m times x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I'll need parentheses over here because there's nothing multiplying it. I have to have the parentheses here because this is one group being multiplied by m. Yes?
How did the x's get changed to y's?
They didn't.
Oh, you switched it around.
Yeah, I just put the, so this is on one side by itself, I'm just putting it on the left side. Okay, now, let's say I have one coordinate. But I don't have the second one. So really what you are going to look at is something like this. Y minus whatever that value is equal to whatever your slope is times x minus whatever the x part of that coordinate was. Okay, so we're going to go through some examples so it makes sense to you. So really we're just filling in these blanks. All I need for slope or for point slope form is I need one point, x sub 1, y sub 1, one coordinate, and I need the slope. That's all I need to write it in point slope form. So, example 1. Y minus 2 equals negative 5 times x minus 4. So my question first to you is, as you're done writing, first question is, what's your slope? Why is it negative 5? Yeah, that's where your m is. That's front, that's your slope. So m is -5. Now the question is, what is the point they gave you?
4. X.
What are we negative 2, -4?
Now look at the formula. It's y minus this value,
Oh,
and x minus this value. So what's in this position?
-1,
-2,
2 and 4. Actually, 4 is the x. 4 is the x, and 2 is the y. So the minus sign is in front of whatever that value is. So having said that, tell me this answer. Example 2. Y equals 3 times x plus 1. This is a harder one.
So in the first example, that's it?
Yeah. It was just given the point slope form, identify the slope and the coordinate used. If you had to graph this, this is how you would graph it. Everybody pay attention. I'm not going to teach you this again. The point, you got to start at a point. You just can't start with slope because you don't know where to rise and run from. You got to rise and run from the point given. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's your point. Your slope is rising -5 and running a +1. If we rise a -5, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We run a +1, that's your next point. So you use those to graph. You have a point to start at, and you use your slope, rise over run to get you to the next point. It's directions to the next point. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. This one. This is in point slope form because of this parentheses. It looks like y equals mx plus b, except you got a parentheses here. So what is the slope? Yeah, your slope is 3. And what is the coordinate that they gave?
Would it be 1 and 0? 0.
Very close.
1.
-1.
1 and 1.
What is that?
Minus.
What's up there?
Positive.
It's a negative.
So what must have been in this position to make this a plus?
Negative.
A negative, because a 2 minus a negative would make it a plus. That says +1. In order for this to be a plus, this better have a negative on it, because minus a negative makes it a plus, right? So if you see a plus in those parentheses, or outside here, then your value is actually the negative. So x is -1, and y is 0. The y value is 0. You didn't need to write y minus 0 there. Okay? You're going to have some problems like that. Again, if you have to graph them, start at the point given. -1, 0. Your slope is +3/1, so we rise 3. 1, 2, 3. And we run 1. Okay? Example 3. Given the slope and a coordinate, write it in point slope form. This is what you're doing. You're filling in the blocks and the lengths.
Okay, so which one of those thingies up there is point slope form because I'm lost. Oh, okay.
Hannah.
I'm confused with the m and the 1/2 because I thought m was the slope.
M is the slope. So you're going to put it where the M is in the formula. Where's the M at in the formula?
The things on an equal sign.
Right. So what's M?
Half.
So I'm going to put 1/2 right here. What's your x value? What's your y value? And what's minus a negative? So you would write it like that. That's your answer.
Hey, I did that.
Okay, don't do that. Example 4. M is negative 2/3, and your point is 0, negative 2.
Are we doing the same thing we just did?
Yes.
Yes.
Put it in point slope form. Nothing.
The y plus 2
Very good. Y plus 2 minus a negative. That's good.
equals negative 2/3.
Yep.
And then x minus 0.
Yep. And x minus 0 is just x. I'm not going to count it wrong if you put x minus 0 in the parentheses. But really, this is the appropriate way of writing it. What?
I can see it.
Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
So if the x is just 0, we can just write x.
The y is just 0, you just write y. Alright, now one last thing is a little over the top, but I want to ask you if you have to write it in slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? What is special about slope-intercept form? What is slope-intercept form, Coogan?
Didn't I just say?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. What is slope-intercept
Oh,
form?
y equals m. I forget what it's mx plus b.
Right, meaning get y by itself. If I want you to find the point slope form and then write it in slope-intercept form, you got to get the y by itself. What are we going to do here? Minus 5. But before we do that, we should probably distribute the slope. So this becomes 1/2 x, or x over 2. That's the exact same thing, the 1 in front of the x. And 1/2 of 2 is 1. Now we subtract 5 in the correct position. Y equals, I'll write it like this, 1/2 x minus 6.
So is that going to be on our homework tonight?
I don't know, you'll have to read your instructions and find out.
Yeah.
Everybody in here better be able to do it. Let's do it over here.
What's that?
What are we going to do here? This is an easy one. Yeah, subtract the 2. We don't need to distribute, there's no parentheses here. Okay, so that's y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. Now you have point slope form and slope intercept form.
And that should be our answer on everything else.
Yeah, depends on what they're asking. Today's lesson is about point slope form. This is what we're looking for. But in the previous book, they actually asked you to give both. So you put it in this form and then you wrote it slope intercept form. Yeah.
So that's called slope intercept.
This is slope intercept because it gives you the slope and where it crosses the y-intercept. Here it's called the point slope form because you have a point, a coordinate, and the slope. I guess right here. This is point slope. Okay? Any questions? Your assignment. Page 358. 122 all. And
That's okay. That's perfectly fine. This is fun.
you do 130 all.
No.